giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live. We are streaming live on YouTube. And of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! What's happening, people? Coming up today, Cowboys were dealt some not so good news heading into Pittsburgh, specifically their offense. But there was no time for a pity party. They got a chance to go up there to Pittsburgh and make a statement. I'm going to break down this Steelers defense against this Cowboys offense, and in doing so, I got my brother Foots, the King, joining me at the top of the hour to break it all down for you, Cowboys Nation. Plus, in the roundup, we will discuss the bad news that was delivered to the Cowboys yesterday. Plus, we have an injury update in regards to the entire team, not just one specific player, that we'll go through as well. Good show lined up for you. Straight to it. We're going to break down this matchup, which I think is the game-deciding matchup, if you ask me. The Cowboys find a way to win this battle. I think they find a way to win the game. You feel me, Bomb Squad?
Bomb Squad!
We got you covered, man. We got you covered. But let's go ahead and hit this roundup real quick because we have some important, very important injury news to get to. Let's do it.
It's time! It's time! It's time!
It's time. It's time.
It is time for...
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Let me talk to you.
Let me talk to you, Cowboys Nation. So first, let's get to the injury report part. The overall injury report part. You almost kind of forgot that yesterday was Wednesday and the Cowboys were out there to practice. So who was back? Marquise Bell, ladies and gentlemen, has returned back to practice in full capacity. So he should be out there. Again, likely mostly special teams, but it's good to have him back. I like the depth we have. You guys know this at the safety position. Hate to lose any of it. So good to see Marquise Bell back out there practicing in full. Last week, another young player that was not available, Kalen Carson, he came back, but he came back in a limited fashion. So I do want to keep monitoring his progress throughout the week. I think it's too early to say one way or the other for him, but if you see another limited or upgrade to full, then it'd be good to have him back, or he will get back, and then it'll be good to have him back for this week. So 2 guys out last week are back practicing this week. Is my audio spiking, or are we good to go here? Apologies, Cowboys. I feel like I'm hearing something in my earphones. The rest of the veterans that you see here in a limited fashion, we're getting a rest day. Malik Hooker, Eric Kendricks, Jordan Lewis, Zach Martin. You will see this time and time again for the Cowboys on Wednesdays for these veterans. So nothing really to be antsy about there. They all practice in a limited fashion, but it's a rest day. Micah Parsons. We don't expect to see Micah likely till after the bye week. I get, we're holding out hope for the next game, the Detroit game, but I'd imagine you want to rest that ankle just a little bit more until the bye week. So he did not practice. But the big news that kind of came down yesterday was breaking news. The Dallas Cowboys will be without Brandin Cooks this week due to an infection in the knee. Well, that came out of nowhere. Here are the reports. Brandin Cooks, and this one from Jane Slater. There was another report from Todd Archer, I think broke it for the Cowboys. But they're kind of on the same wavelength here. The Cowboys were aware of the injections that Brandin Cooks did receive in New York post-game, described as a common solution to avoid a scope for the meniscus. Then the knee got infected. When he returned to Dallas, Dr. Dan Cooper, who is the Cowboys team doctor, scoped out his knee to clean it out and smooth out the meniscus issue. Dan Cooper says Brandin should feel great in 1 to 3 weeks. So he's not playing this week. He could play the following week, but he says he should feel good or great. I'm sorry, in 1 to 3 weeks. And I don't know if I'm rolling him out here if he just feels okay. So I think this could be a situation where it's multiple weeks. It's an infection. I don't like to play around with that. So I do wish him a speedy recovery and hope all goes well. But either way, not good, Bob. That is the injury spotlight presented by OSMI. OSMI provides arthroscopic and robotic assisted orthopedic surgery, foot and ankle surgery, sports medicine, physical therapy, and a whole bunch more. The team of orthopedic specialists has offices in Fort Worth, Decatur, Mansfield, and all of North Texas. When it comes to medical care, you and your loved ones deserve the best possible experience. So schedule your hassle-free appointment today at osmifw.com. Now, I know Dan Cooper is the best in the business. I'm just saying, if Brandin Cooks want to go holler at my guy Dr. Boothby over at OSMI, we can get some inside information. We'll have Dr. Boothby on later this month to discuss a plethora of these injuries that are falling on the Cowboys, ladies and gentlemen. Hate to see it for Brandin Cooks. Truly do hate to see that. But even with Brandin, the Cowboys were going to have to start looking towards the future. And that future starts now. It might be only 1 week, but still, without Brandin Cooks, you look at the wide receiver depth. Boy, it's young. It's a young, wild, and free wide receiver depth. The Jalen's, Cavante, and now Ryan Flournoy, who will be getting called up, most likely. I mean, that's definitely happening. And it sounds like he's been ready. Coach McCarthy said, yeah, Flo's ready. Flournoy sounds ready. Cowboys Nation, we're all excited to see him get a chance to get out there, and he will play. When you go look at the fourth wide receiver, because he'll be the fourth wide receiver on the depth chart, and that would be Jalen Brooks, who was the former fourth wide receiver, but for this week he'll move up. When you go look at it, he's played 13 snaps, 28 snaps, 13 snaps, and only 8 last week. I'm not sure why, but that is what it is. Either way, you'll see Flournoy likely get, I would guess, somewhere around 13 to 18 snaps minimum, depending on how the game flow goes, maybe more. But I expect everybody's numbers to increase. Jalen Tolbert will obviously move up to wide receiver 2. His targets will increase. Brooks will move up to wide receiver 3. Targets will, let's see. Brooks might actually stay at wide receiver 4. Turpin, you would hope, would get a little bit more looks, game plan towards Cavante Turpin, and then Ryan Flournoy. And we've seen Jalen Brooks get targeted. Not a whole lot. Only 7 targets this season. Most of them, or 3 of them, which was a season high, came in week 2. So if Flournoy can make his, 2 or 3 targets count, that's the type of momentum you want to see for him. I know we're all excited, and but I don't want to put so much on this guy to come in here and just save the Cowboys passing game, which I would look at it as saving. But I'm just looking for him to take positive steps towards the right direction so we can gain some momentum so they can say, hey, let's get him on the field more if need be. What I don't want is, again, if something like week 1 in preseason happens and we're ready to throw the baby out the bathwater, because you know how we are, man. We all over the place. After week 1 in preseason, Ryan Flournoy ain't ready yet. Then week 2 happens, we love Ryan Flournoy again. That's just the way it goes, right? Let's be patient with our young bucks. Things are going to happen. These guys are going to be are going to improve, I think, the more they play. And I think this kid has something to him. Truly do. I hope he shows something enough to where they're not like, hey, man, we'll put you back on the inactive list. Man, let's get him some snaps. Let's get him some snaps. Where do you take snaps away from? To me, it'd be Jalen Brooks, but that's just me. We'll see. Let's see what my guy Foots the King got to say about the Cowboys Nation. Please welcome in one of the best out there to do it, my brother Foots. What's good, fam?
Yo, Scott, what's going on? How you feel, man?
I'm feeling good. Woke up. Look, I know we're dealing with what we're dealing with, man, but I've kind of altered my perspective on this season. So I'm not as down in the dumps as maybe I probably should be when you look at what the Cowboys are dealing with. But dealing with that tough news yesterday, I'm just kind of like about it, because it's not like we were using Cooks appropriately anyway, bro. But enough of me. How you feeling, and what's your thoughts on this Brandin Cooks situation with Flournoy coming up and these young wide receivers?
I mean, I think you were kind of spot on. I mean, you can't miss what you didn't have. And outside of the Cleveland game, what did Cooks really give us? And you said you're going to have to start looking toward the future anyway. I'll tell you this. Jalen Tolbert's been a pleasant surprise. Every time he's been called on, he's answered. I'll go back to a play where they threw the hitch, and I know how we all feel about the offense right now, but they threw a comeback to Cooks, he gets rough. They threw the comeback to Tolbert, he catches the ball. The very next play, yeah. So I think that, and I'll talk about this when we talk about the Steelers defense, there's actually some optimism for things to kind of open up, it all depends on how Mike McCarthy uses these now pieces in Flournoy, because the truth is this: with Cooks, he's a speed option, but he just hadn't looked right. And maybe it was this knee and some of this lingering situation, but he just hadn't looked right outside of Cleveland. Not only that, but he was real no threat. So you don't want to see a guy get hurt. But Sky, I still feel like this is a winnable game if the Cowboys do what they're supposed to do offensively.
Oh yeah. No, so yeah, we'll get to the game in general, but I was just wanted your thoughts on the receiver situation with Cooks potentially being out moving forward. Like the opportunity for these young guys to step up here. Like you brought it up with Jalen Tolbert. You're not lying. I mean, he's caught 77% of his passes thrown his way. Now, it's not saying a whole lot with just one touchdown, only 160 yards, but all you can do is ask him to catch the rock when it gets thrown his way, even if it's 90% hitches. I mean, he's not calling the plays out there. So I think Tolbert, since that weird comeback route to where he didn't really come back to the ball against Baltimore, I think his arrow is pointing up. I still wouldn't label him as a game breaker, but he seems to be a dependable guy. And I thought he showed some of that dependability last year, in my opinion. But he's not a guy that is going to break open a game, but you're seeing Jalen Tolbert progress, and that's what you want to see. Jalen Brooks, though, I'm not. Oh, go ahead. My fault.
Yeah.
Go ahead on Tolbert. Go ahead.
No. I was gonna. I've been calling for Tolbert. I've been saying Tolbert. I want to see more. And we're seeing more. It's not in 100-yard games, but we're seeing the confidence. So I completely agree there.
Yeah, with Brooks, you kind of want to see him bounce back from a horrific game he had. I think was it the Saints game, I believe. It
was the Saints game.
Yeah, the Saints. I don't think he really has had that opportunity. Well, I don't know about opportunity. He just hasn't done it yet, right? So when I was looking at this young wide receiving core, and as we have been talking about Flournoy for the last few weeks here, he would be the guy I would look to. Hey, let's see what Ryan Flournoy has in Jalen Brooks' situation. Now, obviously, Flournoy has to gain some chemistry and trust with Dak Prescott, whereas Jalen Brooks has done that, and that's what's going to be tough, especially when we'll get to the Steelers game. When you're dealing with defenses that are going to make you throw in some windows, right? You got to have trust that your guy's going to be there. But I'm willing to go through the ups and downs if it's at the cost of Jalen Brooks as he continues to develop, because I just think Flournoy just has that athletic ability that Brooks just doesn't. And before you touch on that,
yes,
I got to see Kevontae Turpin. I have to see them use him more without Brandon. Like, use Kevontae Turpin how you should have been using Brandin Cooks. I mean, just show me, Mike McCarthy, that you can adapt, when these things happen to you, please. But go ahead, Foots.
Bro, I always tell you this, guy. We got to get our team together because you're spot on. I'll say this: the one thing that I'm gonna even take it a step further, Flournoy just has more of a pro body than Brooks, right? So he's more imposing. He's more. So if you're gonna give him those end breakers, I feel like Dak. Honestly, listening to Flournoy talk yesterday, I did not hear a shadow of a doubt
that boy
that
confident.
him and that he. Yeah, like I felt like he's like, yo, y'all about to see. And what is that? What does C look like? If he goes out there and gets 3 catches, maybe a comeback, maybe a dig, maybe a slant, because that's all that's in. That's what Mike likes
that's
to
what
run.
We're running, yeah.
I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay. Catch the ball. Hey, get down. Maybe make somebody miss. I'm fine. I just think that his tool bag is higher and it is more deep than a Jalen Brooks. As far as Turpin, I completely agree. And maybe this happens. Maybe Mike says, you know what? First play of the game, I just want to run past their defense and see can they run with this guy. I would love to see that. You see what I'm saying? So I agree with you there with Turp because I think that Cooks he's still fast, but he's not Brandin Cooks 2020 fast or 2019 fast. So I would love to see that from Turpin. You're absolutely right.
I think you're onto something with the knee. Obviously, he's had a surgery or a procedure, so clearly the knee was bothering him. And I would love to ask the question: hey, could this be a reason why we're not seeing overs or drags or what have you? Even though that type of route hasn't really been in this playbook in general, but it's been mostly stop routes, and I just we all know that's not Cooks. Like, why are you stopping a guy that has speed? You want Cooks to be able to utilize that. And I think, again, I said this before, at the top of his routes, he knows how to utilize it. But if they're going to run, like you say, the comebacks, the hooks, the slants, and these stop routes, it's for bigger bodied wide receivers like a Ryan Flournoy. So I'm with you, and my expectations are obviously tempered because this is a rookie. This is a guy coming in, and he's going up against a good defense on the road. Going to be loud. It's going to be a tough environment. So I'm not expecting him to come in here and be Dez Bryant 2016 in Pittsburgh. But like you said, if I get 3 catches, 30 yards, 2-3 first downs out of Flournoy, that is enough momentum for me to say, okay, let's build on top of that moving forward and develop some chemistry. Because if we can get into mid-season, late season, and he can become kind of that athletic, bigger body wide receiver that can take something to the crib on a slant type route, because I don't think we have that right now. Tolbert's not going to do it. Cooks is not going to do it. And they're not running Turpin on those routes. Flournoy can do it if it gets moving. So I'm with you. If I get 3 catches and they're all catches and we're not getting any miscommunications, it's a positive game for Ryan.
Hey, it's going to be hard to take him off the field if he starts. If he even and now, what if he exceeds it, Scott?
And if
then you start having a real
beautiful
conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, a 50-yard game, maybe 5-6 catches. Then you're like, oh, this is interesting. You win the game. The flow is there. And we've seen that happen with Cowboys receivers. So I just think that, he waited his turn, and that's kind of how the Cowboys do things in positions like this. Hey, this is the pecking order. And I think that, this is the season. Injuries happen. They believe in guys stepping up, so we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens, brother. So I wanted to invite you on the show today because, I feel like right when Friday came, you was like, hey, bro, Steelers defense, boom, 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 boom. Like, you were on the Steelers defense immediately. And I was like, I got to get there, fam. Like, I got to get there. Well, I got there, man. I got there, Foots. And, again, Foots always says this. If y'all could see we talk every day. We talk football every single day. If y'all could see the conversations we're having via text, it's some fun stuff, man. And a lot of things you were saying were some of the things I noticed. But let me just kind of give a general outlook on some of the Steelers defense right now. For those who watch the show, they know I do this, and then we'll get into the details. Terrell Austin is the defensive coordinator over there in Pittsburgh. He's been there for a good bit now, and he's been getting some head coaching opportunities. But I don't know. I think this is more of a combination of Tomlin and Austin combining their heads here. This is a physical defense. They play a physical brand of defense. All you got to do is ask Justin Herbert and Anthony Richardson. They are coming to hit you. They're physical at the line of scrimmage. They're physical at the second level, and they're physical in the defensive backfield. So the Cowboys are going to have to come and bring their hard hats. But last week, that was a game me and you were kind of talking about a lot. They got punched in the mouth. The Colts punched them in the mouth early. They gave up 17 straight points before they started to settle down. They only gave up 10 after that first quarter. But the Colts were able to kind of sustain some early drives, 8, 9, 10 play type of drives and get some points. And I had text you this. Shane Steichen had those boys on their heels. Shane Steichen, I often talk about first 15s and how you come out. I thought he came out, was using misdirection, orbit motion. You talked about Josh Downs. He was clever in how he used him underneath. It wasn't just like curls and whip routes with Josh Downs. He married what he was doing to some at-snap, pre-snap stuff. If the Cowboys can come out in that manner, I do think you can get the Steelers defense on their heels, but I do want to give a nod to the Colts and how they came out against that Steelers defense. They put those boys on their heels and made them say, hey, you're going to have to play our game.
Yeah, I think early on in the game they attacked, and I think that's what I want to see the Cowboys do. One of the people that I circled in that game, and this is where, okay, now, Mike, you have no excuse, okay? Mike McCarthy now has no excuse. CeeDee Lamb wins in the slot. Josh Downs had a field day, Sky. I mean, he was over the middle of the field. He was in the flats, anywhere, because to me, and I didn't get their personnel packaging, but to me, 50 and Peyton Wilson and Queen, they stayed on the field. Like, they didn't bring in DBs. They just said, you know what, we're going to guard it how we guard it. And the Colts, like you said, and Steichen took advantage of that. And I'm going to tell you right now, they ran a Texas route to Jonathan Taylor, and it was just like 50 feet were in mud. It was like 5 yards
red
of separation.
zone, I think you're talking about, in that green area.
And, I mean, it was beautiful, wasn't it, Scott? And it was like, that's the type of mismatches that I want to see Mike attack. And I told you, I text Scott this. I give Mike passes probably more than I should. But I'll tell you this. If he doesn't attack this defense the way, like literally in Shane Steichen, they don't even – I think that the Cowboys have better weapons because you do have a CeeDee Lamb, who I like Josh Downs, but he can't tie CeeDee Lamb's shoes. So you do have a CeeDee Lamb who can get in these windows, who can do those types of things, Texas routes, and different types of angle routes. I'll say this. If the Cowboys don't attack them in that way, then I will have an issue with Mike McCarthy because, again, Hayward, great player. Watt, yes, we know who these players are. Every team has those guys, right, Sky, that you're going to have to chip, you're going to have to deal with. But there are weaknesses in that defense. I had to tell a few people, listen, I like Joey Porter Jr. Joey Porter Jr. is not a perfect cornerback. I'm just telling you. Gave up 70 yards last week. He's very grabby. He's very holdy. At times, he's better in man when he can get in your face. When he's in those zones, when he's in those zone looks that they try to run at times, he gets lost. He's a corner that can be had. I like Dante Jackson, but I don't think that Jackson is one of these guys, Scott, that you say, oh, we don't throw his way. So, Mike, this is a Mike McCarthy game where coaching needs to elevate. Coaching needs to elevate, and it's a winnable game for their defense. I think the thinking is Mike Tomlin and the defense is unbeatable. And to be honest with you, Scott, that's just not the case from what I saw.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's no defense in the league that's that. This isn't 2000 Baltimore Ravens, but this is a good defense. Let's not get it twisted. This is a very good defense. Up front, I think they're built through up front. You talk about Cam Hayward and T.J. Watt. I mean, I don't know, bro. Not everybody got a T.J. Watt. If we were to start right there, because I'm kind of burying the league, T.J. Watt, and so y'all can see my face here, man. I'm not going to gloss over this shit here. I'm sorry, brother. If Mike McCarthy, Dak, Schottenheimer, whoever the hell is calling these plays, if they come out here and try to get cute, you will get owned by T.J. Watt. Don't get cute. Please make him jump through hoops, whether it's chips, whether it's doubles, whether it's whatever. Because I had to go back and watch. I watched all of his games with T.J. Watt and kind of got lost and just like in awe with the guy. He's really damn good. And I'm like, why was it so quiet last week? And I was like, oh, I know why. On 8 third downs, he was doubled 3 times and won 3 times. So 6 of his 8 first downs, he was either doubled or he won, and the ball came out fast or he got a pressure for an incomplete. So you can't mess around with this dude. He's an absolute game wrecker. And when it comes to run defense, and we're not just talking about just Watt. Keanu Benton's good, man. Keanu Benton's a guy a lot of people said they would have rather have had than Mozzie Smith. He's going to be a challenge for Cooper Beebe, who was good in pass protection, I think, with the doubles last week. Run game was a bit choppy, in my opinion. But Keanu Benton's one of the more underrated guys. So I'm excited to see that matchup. Benton and Beebe, that'll be a great test for him. And then Cam Hayward. Cam Hayward continues to be one of the best run guys in the league. It's exactly why the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is second in the league behind the Ravens in stopping the run. So, I mean, this front 7, front 4, 5, whatever they do, their defense is built through those guys. And when it comes to the back end, they're really just playing division defense, Woods. It's mostly cover 3. They play cover 3 at, I think, something like 52 or 53% of the time. So second most in the league. They're just saying, drop back, keep everything in front of us, and we're going to make you matriculate down the field. And TJ Watt and these boys will get after you and get some pressure. So that's where I 100% agree, where McCarthy is going to have to find ways to get some easier throws into this cover 3 and not just everything having to pierce through windows time and again, because that's one thing I did notice. There's going to be windows, clearly. But if you watch even in that Colts game, you better make sure you got pinpoint accuracy, because those corners or safeties or whomever, they're around the ball when it's delivered. It's not like dudes are just running through the secondary, hence why they're not giving up a whole lot behind them, only a couple big plays and 20-plus yards. So Cowboys are going to have to be smart, not obviously not turn the ball over, but don't get penalties and stay in front of the sticks, because they're going to make you matriculate down the field and say, you're going to mess up or Watt or somebody's going to get to you. So this is a perfect opportunity for me, Foots, for the Cowboys to put some good tape out against a really good defense. I'm one of those that still believe this is a really good defense, but I don't think it's an 85 Bears. No, but this is a good defense. This defense is sound. They believe in their scheme. Reminds me of kind of Dennis Allen with the Saints when it comes to the DBs. They don't have great DBs, but their DBs are very comfortable in what they're doing back there. So I'm excited for this. On the road, if the Cowboys go out there offensively, bro, and have a good outing, that is huge. Without Brandin Cooks, that is huge moving forward, that you can go beat a good defense on the road in their crib.
Now, and let me ask you this, guy, and this is my game plan, and I want to hear your thoughts. Jake Ferguson and CeeDee Lamb are going to work the middle of the field. What do good defensive coordinators do? They adjust. I think now it falls back into what we were talking about early. If you're getting singled and the looks say, give Flournoy a shot, give Tolbert a shot, give Turpin a shot, because what's going to happen is if I know Minka like I know Minka, who's been a great player since Alabama, he's going to keep eyes on Ferg. He's going to know where Ferg is, because he knows as of right now he's probably our 2, right? He's probably our guy who that's where Dak is going to go. Okay, cool. So the chess to me is, hey, Tolbert, make plays when you get an opportunity. Win when you get an opportunity. And it's going to be some play calling, and it's going to be some win when you get those opportunities. And I think if the Cowboys do that, because they don't have a person on their team who can run with CD, and a lot of teams don't, right, Scott? But the thing is, they will – CD's going to get doubled. I mean, they had help over the top versus Deontay Banks. CD just made a great play. So – I think if Mike can understand that they're going to try to take away the middle of the field, whether it's some type of bluff cover, any type of – they're going to try to take away the middle of the field once CD starts to eat. You have to have other guys step up, and you have to have a scheme. They need to have an idea of how to get other people on the edge. I know I try to stay away from it. They need to – hey, Scott, they need to have an idea of how to get players on the edge involved. They really do.
He switched it right. So the new word is idea. It ain't scheme no more. It's idea. You got to have an idea.
I'm staying away from scheme. You just going to say idea. Have an idea, y'all. Just have an idea. Just wake up with an idea, man. Please.
You make a great point. As you were saying, I was thinking about it. I mean, to me, Ferguson has always been your 2. I don't know that we've been using him like that just quite yet, but he's always been your 2. What's going to be very interesting is that Ferguson, who we believe should be targeted like a top tight end, is going up against a defense that doesn't give up a whole lot to the tight ends. Only 23 yards so far in the season per game. But this is where I'll say the S word, damn it, scheme. This is where Mike McCarthy is going to have to scheme up ways to get Jake Ferguson to rock, get him in good position, because you talked about the middle of their defense, particularly in the passing game, being vulnerable. Patrick Queen, I wouldn't say is a cover guy. Like just kind of watching him out there, he gets frustrated. He tackles. Don't get me wrong. Like the ball gets delivered in his area, he'll come down and tackle. But there was a play, I think, in the Chargers game, and this is a scheme, where they had some pre-snap motion and they had some post-snap action that kind of got him lost in the sauce, and Lad McConkey got right behind him. Justin Herbert puts it right by his ear for a big play. I feel like you're going to have to kind of do that so that these guys aren't just dropping into spots and knowing what you're doing, because we're being stagnant. We don't have any motion. We know CD's if he's in the slot and he's not running he's not motioning, he's doing what, Foots? He's running a slant. So, like, you got to make these guys think a little bit. Don't make this thing easier on a defense that, in my opinion, is very comfortable in what they're doing. Like, they don't look out of sorts. They don't look like there's a bunch of busted plays unless you make them have to go misdirect them, have to make them think and put them on their heels. That's what you got to do, man. In regards to the ground game, though, Foots, I'm kind of looking at this like
I completely.
Oh, go ahead. I'll get to the ground game when we're done.
No. I was just. I mean, another thing is this, right? We said it's stop routes. We said, well, now, Mike, you put enough stop routes on film. How about a double move?
Yeah.
How about
come on? We talking now.
How about a sluggo? How about just something to say, listen, y'all not just going to be able to drive on footballs, because I'm telling you, that's what Joey Porter wants to do. He's gonna be grabby, he's gonna be feisty, he wants to drive. Okay, cool. Now you start getting cute, you start getting carried away. Hey, this ball's going over your head, and if they have their resources, regardless of the coverage, if they have their resources in the middle of that whatchamacallit, then I agree. Then I say, listen, I believe if they have the resources in the middle of that defense, Sky, meaning they're driving on everything on CD, the safeties are driving on Elliott, if they're driving on CD, if they're driving on Ferg, then we got to be able to test the edges, maybe a post corner, something to within our scheme. I said I won't say, but within our scheme to back these guys off.
This is real though,
and
bro.
To keep them focused. Yeah, we have to. So I agree there 100%. And that's what I said in my video. I just did a video. You guys go check it out. That's what it's going to come down to. Tolbert, Flournoy, and Terp. Somebody else is saying, man, now, because to me right now, 88 is top 5 and it ain't close, and really top 3.
Yeah,
the way he's playing, his vibe is there. I mean, you heard it on the sound for the sideline. He like, man, bro, I'm just getting started, and I really believe that. Like he on something different. So with him being on something different, Scott, I truthfully do believe that if somebody else can give you anything, we're good.
No, I'm with you, and maybe, and again, this is gonna be a tough ask this week. What you want to do on the road, man, it just is what it is. You want to get something from your run game too. Like you look, I get it. We got Dak, and I believe in Dak 100%, but and CD and Ferg, right? But it's not like you're rolling out there with a lot extra, a lot more than that offensively. And last thing I want to do is drop Dak back so many times on the road with TJ Watt rushing the passer against our tackles, with all due respect. So you need to have some type of run game, even if it looks like it looked in New York last week, where it wasn't great, but it was better than in previous weeks. I'd like to see them at the very least be able to do something, because what happened, last week for the Steelers against the Colts, early in that game when Anthony Richardson was out there, now granted, Dak is not a runner like Anthony Richardson, they had to respect that, right? And Jonathan Taylor was averaging like 6 yards per carry when Anthony Richardson was out there. And then Richardson had a couple good runs too. Maybe this is a game on the road. I know, Dak, you ain't, Mike Vick. This is a game where pull that thing and run, right? Get a design run or something just to keep them on their heels. And then maybe that'll help open up something for one of the running backs. Now, do I expect them to have a good running game against the Steelers defense? I don't. I think the Steelers front is really good against the ground. in the ground game. And what kind of, tripped them up last week was dealing with Anthony Richardson, because when he went out, you saw Jonathan Taylor only average like 3 yards per carry, 3.2 yards per carry. So they're a really good defense in that sense too. But you gotta, I think I'm what you said earlier, come out aggressive, even if it's aggressive in the run game, meaning you got some type of scheme to it. Because I don't think this, and you let me know what you're seeing out here, this offensive line has not been good down in, down out, playing hat on hat ball. And I think that's what Mike Solari is asking them to do. They've been sloppy for 2 years, in my opinion, in their execution. I don't think they're moving guys like you would want, which, again, Zach Martin's a little older in the tooth. BB's playing a different position. Tyler Smith is trying to help out two different guys next to him. Guyton is, he'll try to finish you or what have you, but he's still figuring out how to be a run blocker. And Terrence and Zach, they pretty much have a good thing going on over there. But this offensive line is not where you want it to be just quite yet. I think the scheme is one of the most poor schemes you have in the league in regards to running the ball. And then the backfield is, at best, mediocre. So you don't have some talent that's really going to make up for what's happening in front, or you can't really mess up. Like, meaning if there's something there, you got to take advantage of it. We can't be like, I missed that when I get it back. You might not get it back because this run game isn't built that way. So I still have my skepticism about this run game because we have not seen anything consistently otherwise to say that, hey, this run game is fine. I feel like we need to see something to get some confidence from it. Other than that, it's just blind optimism.
Yeah, the run game is one of those things. I liken it to this guy. We're going to have to do it because you have to run the ball. You can't go out there.
Yeah, you got to run the ball, bro.
40, 50, 60 times. Yeah, but I'm with you. Scott, come draft time, man. Me, like you said, we talk every day, and it's so funny to see people on Gentry now. But, I had them early in the process. We'll be talking about running backs for this team. And it's actually the way that it'll come together, because it does look like we have something in Beebe for sure. Guyton, still got to wait and see. He needs to get cleaner. As high as I am on Guyton, I don't think he's been awful, but, some of the stuff that y'all had issues with, we've kind of seen the hand placement, the inside move, but I think he's going to get better. But I think that the line as a whole is going to keep improving, but you can't – this has been my thing. You can't – there's a difference between a Camry and a Corvette. You got to get a guy. I'm watching Tajay Spears hit the hole hard. I'm watching Tony Pollard and the Titans play, and I'm just like, you got to have a guy back there. Zeke is giving you all he can, but he's limited. He's limited at this stage in his career. He has so many miles. He's limited. Still physical. He'll still do he'll still get what's blocked, but that's about it. He's not going to run away from anybody, not going to make anybody miss. And Rico, I just think Rico is your best back right now, but he just hasn't played enough ball to be able to take over a game, and I just don't know if he ever will.
I don't think that's going to be a thing he can do, brother.
Yeah, that's just not his bag. And you're blessed to have Dak Prescott because, like I said, you go into this game with Dak Prescott where if you're going to give him – the good thing about the Steelers, they don't change they don't change much pre-snap. Like, they don't change the look. The information is the information. Yeah. Well, if Dak has the information, he'll get you. And if Flacco can get you, Dak will definitely get you. So it's one of these games where I think offensively and for the rest of the season, man, unfortunately, Dak is going to have to be better more than not, and I think he will be. I'm going to say this. I think that between Tolbert and Flournoy, those guys make some big key catches when we least expect it. I don't know if it'll be big plays, but I think that it'll be when we least. And I think that we may even see some Turpin in the backfield, Sky, just to kind of give us that juice that we need.
I love that idea.
If we need something, I think we may get some of that, Sky, to just give us some juice.
Foots, I thought that we would have seen that more already because you don't have that juice back there. Another player, which I'm surprised you did not bring up, which I'm interested to see carry the ball a little bit more, especially in this game, on the road against a physical defense like this. Well, let's match your physicality with our physicality, and that's Hunter Lipke. Hunter Lipke, and I'm not just talking about like on third downs or what have you, or short yardages. I am interested, to see, okay, what about on just regular down and distance? I'm not a big fan of just first down run all the time, but the Cowboys love to do it. What about then? What about when the defense is expecting it and they want to match that physicality? Okay, well, we got a Bison back there that can bring that to you as well. And personally, I think he might have some of the best feet in the backfield. He may not be as shifty and quick as Deuce Vaughn, but I'm just talking about just his feet. I feel like his feet are really good for a big fella. So what about Hunter Lipke getting involved? Kevontae Turpin getting involved? I do think you have to throw everything that you can at the wall with this run game, because I don't think, like we all agree here, you don't have that type of back in the backfield that one guy can just do it all for you. It's just not happening, man. And I know some people don't like the committee approach. All right, we'll throw out the committee approach. Find two dudes and make it work, right? Like find two guys that you think can bring the best to each game and make it work. And then you maybe sprinkle in a little bit of Kevontae Turpin.
Call it a duo, huh, Sky?
I'm a big fan of it. I'm a big duo fan. I like the committees as well, but duos is kind of the norm thing. If you have a committee approach, where I'm a fan about a committee approach is when you're committed to the committee. Like when you're committed to it, I got the olden Giants and the Patriots we talk about. Hell, even the Dolphins last year had a committee approach. Everybody has a job. This is my kind of lead guy. This is my third down guy. This is my speed receiver guy. And we use them in that manner. I don't think Dallas is doing that at all. They're just like, hey, here, Deuce, you get 2 carries this game. He got 7 on the season. Here, Zeke, you get 3-4 carries. Here, Rico, we finally gave you 11 carries. It's just no rhyme or reason to it. And when you combine it with no scheme, it's just a mess, bro.
No, I completely agree. The committee, we're not there yet. I mean, Mike still's trying to figure out the rhythm of the offense. It's just too much. So, and you know what? As an offense, you know what you have to do? You have to adjust on the fly. And that's what I mean by I completely agree with you. Right now, your best runners are Zeke and Rico. That's it. Now, if what you're saying, what I'm saying is, if Rico has it, keep Zeke on the sideline and sprinkle in Lipke. Sprinkling Lipke on some dive action, sprinkling him sneaking out the backfield, and get him touches that way. But as far as like, I'm all for trying to get 3 guys the ball, and these 3 guys is just you got to abort that mission to me.
Yeah, because I don't think it's a complete committee. Like, do they all bring something to the table? Yes, but I don't think it's a complimentary committee at all. And we talked about this, right? We said very redundant backfield. You had 3 backs who are similar in the sense these aren't spark plug type backs, and then you got Deuce, right? So it was just not put together well, and you're seeing it all play out. Yeah, and I mean honestly, there's gonna have to be some unsung heroes for this offense to continue to work. Now I will say this: when you look at the numbers, Dak's still playing Dak football, and I got a feeling as we play some lesser as we play some lesser defenses coming down the pipe, Detroit's front is good. Their secondary, I mean, they gave up a lot of points to Seattle. We still got the rest of the NFC East as we play lesser secondaries and even defensive line. I mean, people got to understand Baltimore's D line was really good. I mean, especially pass rush wise, that's what they do. As we play lesser secondaries, this one's pretty good too. But by the way, no Alex Highsmith, y'all. So that's huge. But if he had played, this one is great. I think it might even be better than Baltimore's D line. But yeah,
if Highsmith was out there, yes, then you like, you know what, hold your breath. But because it's just Watt, you could roll set protection his way. They don't have another guy off the edge that's really going to stress you in that way. But I'll just say this. You get these games out the way now. If you win this game, Sky, and you look decent offensively, it's not a muddy game. Let's say you put up 24, 25 points, even 28 points. We come Monday morning, and we look at some things. We say, how do they get that done? And we say, maybe that's the formula to keep getting it done, in my opinion.
Before I let you go, man, hey, Foot, you got that dog in you?
Come on, man. You know I do.
Talking about Underdog Fantasy, bro. Join the millions plus of fans who've made game days more entertaining by playing Underdog Fantasy Sports. You can sign up with the promo code ATOZ Dallas and get a deposit match up to $1,000. And you don't got to go far. Just use the link. We'll have it in our description today. I want to tease my game day pick'em with your foots because we just broke down the Steelers defense and we talked about everything from top to bottom, coverage to front, all of that. One of the higher or lower stats they have on the website and on their app is Dak Prescott. Higher or lower than 241 and a half passing yards. And I thought that was a good one to pick. And they do a good job with these numbers because they're only giving up 197 passing yards per game to quarterbacks right now. Granted, they have not played, I don't think, a quarterback caliber of Dak Prescott for 4 quarters. Justin Herbert left that game. Anthony Richardson, even if he played, he left that game where Joe Flacco came in. And then you had the Broncos and Kirk Cousins' first game with the Steelers with a torn Achilles. So this is the best quarterback they're going to play this year so far. Higher or lower foots, 241 and a half passing yards. Cowboys Nation, Bomb Squad, y'all can participate too.
I'm going higher, Scott. Let's go higher.
Why?
I'm going higher. I believe the way that Flacco moved the ball, Dak's looking at that film. He's going to play on time. He's going to get the ball to CD. So here's the wild card. CD after the catch now looks different, right? So he could take a slant in house. CD knows what time it is. That's gonna boost those numbers right there. They don't listen to me. Everybody on this chat, listen to Foot. They don't have a guy who can run with 88. They have to use resources to double him. If they just put 50 out there or 41, which is Peyton Wilson, we love him in the draft, but there's the big leagues now. If they try to do that and just inside shade him, it's over. And if they try to put Deshaun Elliott out there, CD running right past Elliott. Elliott's a thumper. So I'm telling you, that's the way I talk myself into it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's going to be higher because I think it has to be. I don't think you have a good run game that's going to really be present in this game. So a majority of your yards are going to come with Dak throwing the ball. And, Dak has no pride. If you want to make him methodically move the ball down the field, and this scheme, I think, is going to do that by itself, he'll do it. He can dot you up. Do I like the fact that he has to be damn near perfect, every single play, given, as much as slants and comebacks and hooks? No. But we've seen that, look, he can do it. He just has to avoid that mistake, right? That's the one thing I hate is that it requires you to be precise every single time because we're not going to get a bunch of separation. So I'm hoping in this game without Brandin Cooks, that kind of increases the emphasis on, all right, let me do a little bit more rubs. Let's get some more stack routes, right? We're stacking behind a receiver or tight end, and then we're breaking. We saw that, I think, in the Colts game. You saw some of that, them scheming it up. Some screens, Foots, tight end screen. If you go see the touchdown, I think it was a touchdown they scored in Indianapolis. You had 85, I think it was, Ogletree. He chips TJ Watt.
That was a good play design, yeah.
Yeah, very good play. They chips TJ Watt. They run kind of it was like a chip crosser where they had the slot receiver crossing, and right after he releases from the chip, it was kind of a semi-cross with the tight end, and he's wide open because no one's really expecting him to go on a route to the middle of the field because it's TJ Watt, and he scores a touchdown. So scheme it up a little bit better, and I think this is a great play. Great play. This is easily going to be a higher, for me, 241 and a half passing yards. But I'll give y'all the rest of my picks on game day. Y'all make sure y'all head over to Underdog Fantasy and download the app if you haven't, and use our promo code ATOZ. Hey, Foots, I wish I could keep you longer, brother. I know you got some things you got to do. I appreciate you coming through, man, and breaking this thing down. This ain't the last time you'll be on here this season, though.
I was just about to say, Sky, I want to put you now on TV, and we're gonna hold Sky's feet to the fire. Can I get Sky on my channel to break down their offense? Can I get you just 15 minutes, Sky? Because you've been doing a great job. Like I've labeled you the defensive guy in our community.
Man, that's cool.
Zimmer, and I honestly, it is, but you don't sell yourself short because guess what? I think people overreacted to Mike Zimmer being a bad coach too early. What he did against the Giants, let me just say this real quick. I know we're talking offense.
That's fine. That's fine.
The Giants ran for 5 yards of carry versus Washington. The Giants ran for 1 yard of carry versus the Cowboys.
1.1. It's crazy.
Give Zimmer time, y'all. Like, we can't just throw things away because it didn't work in one game versus one of the toughest schemes in the nation. I mean, in the National Football League, which is Baltimore, and then I think the Saints game was just an anomaly. I just give Zimmer some time, y'all. I think that everything you said in the offseason, Sky, I think is still going to come to fruition. I think the Cowboys defense is going to be fine. I just want to hear your thoughts on stopping that offense, Sky. I really do.
Real quick on the Zimmer thing, I've been talking about this all week. I think the issue we're having right now is we're not getting to a spot where we can play Zimmer ball. And that's what's frustrating. Like you can't see the full extent of Zimmer's defense if you're constantly in second and third and short or teams are running all over you. You can see it when you're able to kind of keep, have a defense or offense, be one-dimensional like in week one. Even in the Giants game, it was a really strange game because they couldn't run, but you weren't really pulling away, so the Giants didn't have to get out of being able to dink and dunk you down the field. There was no risk that they had to take. So the Cowboys really couldn't pounce on that opportunity. But if the offense and the run defense can kind of help each other out here, then you'll start to see the Zimmer defense effect, I think, moving forward. But you got me, bro. I texted you yesterday. Couldn't do it yesterday, but you got me today. If you need me or whenever you need me, just let me know, fam. And we talk about this Steelers offense. I broke them down yesterday, so I'm very averse to what they're doing.
Hey, man. Let's rock. I'm going to hang up and listen, man. Much love to you, Sky.
All right, bro. Appreciate you, big dog. That's my guy, Foots the King, ladies and gentlemen. Can we please give him a round of applause? I always tell y'all, there ain't too many talk ball with, but that's definitely one. Foots might be biased to the coaches, and he knows that. He'd tell you that. But he can talk some damn good ball. He knows his stuff, man. He knows his stuff. Real quick, let's just take a brief break to catch our breaths, right? And we'll come right back in a few more minutes, about 5 or so more minutes. I do see a caller in here I want to get to, and we kind of broke everything down for the Steelers defense. Now it's about going out there and doing it.
You're listening to A to Z Sports.
Do it live!
At some point, hoping to broadcast
In front of the millions
of Cowboys fans to bring you the real. But for now, strap up and
reach for the sky.
here's your host, Skywalker Steele.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you.
We'll do it live.
Hey, Foots. Bottle on me, brother. Bottle on me. Appreciate you coming through. I got to head on over to Specs. Let me know your favorite thing to drink. I don't know. Foots might not drink, though. Foots be running 8 miles a day. He be out there coaching the kids. Maybe the kids might drive him to a little, Either way, Specs is your one-stop shop and destination for an unbeatable selection of beer, wine, and finer foods. Whether you're planning that Cowboys watch party or just looking for the perfect bottle, Specs has you covered. Great prices, expert advice, and the best brands. Find it all at Specs. And you can find me and my guy, Jesse Halley, this Sunday night at Canvas Sports and Social. Once again, hosting our game day live, pre-halftime and post. Shouts out to those who I've been seeing some fans come through and watch with us. Big A's been there the last few weeks. A couple regulars. When I say regulars, I mean those who watch the game. That means a lot, man. When y'all come through and y'all say, hey, man, I've been watching the show for. That's dope. It would never, ever, ever. I would never not feel so appreciative of you guys for the support. So thank you so much for those coming out. Make sure you come out this Sunday. Canvas got you covered. Good food down there, good vibe, good music. And of course, we're going to be there. We're going to be there. All right, real quick, let's talk to Poindexter one time for the one time. And I'll wrap you on the chat for a little bit as we wrap up, but we broke it all down for you, man. Poindexter, how we doing this morning?
Man, I am doing great, man. Look, I want the people, I don't look at the cup half empty. I look at it as half full. I am excited about playing these Steelers. Having Micah out and having Tank out, it might, I don't know, man, it might be a blessing in disguise. I'm not, I'm old school when it comes down to defense. And, old school defense says defensive ends okay, you come up field and you set the edge on every play. You know what I mean? If you make plays inside, that is a bonus. But from what I've
Damn,
seen,
Poindexter, you must be talking about like 1965 old school. So you talking?
Yeah. Yeah, but as I see other teams and stuff like this, as I see that is effective, because you depending on everybody else to make plays. You depending on, safeties. You depend on linebackers. You depend on corners to make the plays they supposed to make. You know what I mean? But when they did that, what they say, that scrape, whatever.
Yeah, the scrape exchange.
We talked about it last. Yeah, the scrape exchange. I think that's garbage. But hey, if they want to play it, then hey, that's cool. You know what I mean? But in a defense like that, defensive ends mostly are not making a whole lot of plays, but they setting up everybody else. You know what I mean? They're making it funnel. Now we have
defensive ends you watching, brother, but defensive ends in today's game are making plays 100%.
Yeah, but okay, I do understand that. I see this. You know what I mean? But what I'm saying is that one thing that we do as far as a defense, okay, we want to try to stop the run. We trying to contain. We've been beaten more on the edge than on the inside. That's true.
Depends which game. If you look at the Baltimore game, you got your butt whooped both. If you look at the Saints game, they just 30 runs I think were to the outside. So either way, I mean,
We'll see.
But against the Giants and against the Colts, against the Browns, no, you played fantastic against the run.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you something. We'll go on to this offense, man. Dak is that dude. You know what I mean? He is that dude. But when we talk about Flournoy and stuff like this here, man, what if Flournoy becomes Michael Gallup at the height of his powers? You know what I'm saying? Where you have a dude on the outside that can beat the one-on-ones and have a CD everywhere else, man. That would open up this offense, man, something crazy. To have that big dude that can beat the one-on-ones on the outside. We need somebody else on the outside. We need somebody beating people on the outside as far as receiver. And I hope somebody steps up and do that.
Yeah. I just hate hearing Michael Gallup. If he's going to be Michael Gallup, be Michael Gallup down the field at his height. Michael Gallup wasn't beating nobody in one-on-one unless it was a 50-50 ball down the field. But yeah, so if he could be that, if he could be that, I mean, he still wasn't beating him. He just was 50-50 jump ball guy. Yeah, I'd much rather him.
We talk a lot. We talk a lot about Michael Gallup after the injury, but Michael Gallup before the injury.
Even Michael Gallup before the injury wasn't a guy creating a whole bunch of separation. He was a guy that was, again, one of the best 50-50 jump ball guys downfield. If he can be that part of his game, cool. But underneath, I would like him to be better than that underneath, me personally.
Okay. Well, I understand that. I understand where you're coming from. Like I said, I'm looking at the cup half full. I'm not looking at the cup half empty.
And I'm looking at this thing, keeping it real. Just
hey, look, you know what I mean? Keeping it real is keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? But, right now, man, my mind is just flooded with realism. You know what I mean? Because this thing can go a whole lot of different ways. But I'm still in Dak we trust, man. I'm looking for him to have that monster game and just rip these boys apart, as y'all said before. Nobody can stay with CD. Nobody can stay with CD.
What's your final score for Sunday night?
Oh man, you know what? I'm like I said, I'm thinking that the Cowboys gonna score at least 30 points. And hopefully this defense can keep them to 20. So I'm going to just say 20 to 30. I'm just
20 to 30.
20 to 30.
I like
it. One more thing. We went back to talking about that interview with Stephen A. and what we talked about the Django thing.
Oh yeah.
Now Stephen A. Yeah, Stephen A. is always Stephen in my mind. You know what I'm saying? He's always Stephen in my mind.
Did you hear what he allegedly said about Dak? He said that he deserves to be the highest paid player or highest paid talent on ESPN, because if Dak Prescott can be the highest paid player in the NFL, then he's got the resume. Come on, man. He's comparing himself to Dak Prescott, bro, an NFL quarterback. He said, if Dak can get the bread, then I need to get the bread because I'm worth it. You ain't see that?
Oh, man.
Yeah,
well,
man.
I'll tell you this here. Have you ever heard of Kirk Flood? Have you ever heard of Kirk Flood?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Kirk Flood said it best. High-paid slave is a slave none the best.
He's a pioneer. Kirk Flood, there ain't no free agent. Let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, he says, I'm better than Dak. And then that's why he should get a $100 million contract. Good Lord, bro.
Why is he putting Dak in the mix? Now, what is that about?
I don't know, bro. I don't know. He said.
I got to go read that, dog.
This is the quote. Hold on, here's a quote.
I missed it.
He said,
I missed it.
He said they just signed a $240 million contract, making $60 a year, and he's won 2 playoff games in 8 years. I've been number 1 for 12 years. In our respective industries, I win. I'm aware of what I'm worth. In other words, I'm better and more valuable than Dak Prescott. Oh, my God, bro. You can't make this stuff up.
Look, on my notification, it says Stephen A. Smith wants 5-year contract. And I just swiped that shit out. I don't want to read no shit about the Stephen A. Smith. So that's what it was. I get sports notifications all around. You know, like Stephen A. wants a 5-year contract. Like, I don't want to see that shit.
Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here, bro.
That's crazy, man. I don't want to read about Steven.
I feel you, fam. I feel you. I happened to see it on Twitter. Somebody clipped up people make these great graphics. It was like Stephen A. and Dak and then a big quote. And I'm like, what? I was going to retweet, like, is this real? But I'm like, nah, I can just do my own research. And it was real. And I'm like, wow. Yeah, he's out of pocket.
Man, you know what?
He's out of pocket.
I wish somebody would make a meme, when they had Steven sitting in the parlor, sitting in the chair, drinking a little brandy or whatever, drinking some Hennessy. I need one of the pictures of Stephen A. Smith.
I might do it for you. I might do it for you. This here's candy. What did he say, bro? He leaned over to him and said, "Meet me in the library." And it'd be Stephen A. It'd be Jerry Jones. Meet me in the library, Jerry. He just in there waiting.
Even they negotiating 5-year contract.
You a damn fool, boy. Hey, appreciate the laugh, fam.
Hey man, you have a blessed day, man.
You too,
big ups to you. Hey man, big ups to you and Foots, man, and all the round table, man. We need to get you back here at the round table, man. Yeah. The last round table that I heard, it was off the hook, man.
It's been a
minute. They had Boss and Law, and man, they was going at it, man, and they was coming up with some fire. They was coming up with some fire. We need to get you back in the round table.
Yeah, it's been a minute since we had the round table, but maybe the bye week I'll wrap to the squad, see what's up, man.
But I'm glad y'all blowing up like that, man, because I've seen you and Jesse and 2i and all of y'all collaborate, man, and I just love the mix and matches of y'all, man. I just love that. Every time I see, it's like, oh man, and Skywalker, Lord, bosses. I'm like, man,
the team ups is crazy. The team ups is definitely crazy, and that's what makes this fun, man. Is that I think the community is strong and deep. I said this before. I keep saying it. I don't believe any other team or fan base has a deeper community than the Cowboys, man.
Well, I tell you what, man. I don't get up till after 11 o'clock. And you get me up early in the morning just to listen to you live. Usually I just listen to your the replay. But I want to talk to you live, man, because I think you are off the hook, man.
Thank you.
I have so much fun listening to y'all, man. Now I like talking to y'all, but man, I like listening to y'all more. You know what I mean? I really do, man. I have great content. Y'all don't take yourself serious. Like you said with that thing on the networks, everybody think they above everything, and they think they can say any damn thing they want to say. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, then they then they don't care when it's crazy or wrong or get proved. Yeah, man. We ain't like that. But Poindexter, I appreciate the love, the feelings mutual, man. And look, call back in. Maybe tomorrow. We'll do a Fan Friday. We'd love to hear from you.
All right then, man. Have a blessed day.
You too, brother. Salute.
Oh,
Hold on. My guy, love the energy, man. Love the energy. Hilarious. Meet me in the library. You a fool, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let me see if we got any supers I missed. Super dupers. Let me see here. I got one, man. Shouts out to Kelvin. Kelvin Mays in the building.
Super chat.
Drop 5. It said, here's another one that came through. Salute to you, Sky. Love the content. Very informative. I think a big help to our defensive line will be rotating Osa at left end and defensive tackle like we did Crawford in the past. Thanks, bro. Appreciate that. I try to be as informative as possible. I do a ton of research, and I'm like, why keep it to myself? I want to tell you guys. Interesting. I've heard that a lot, Kelvin, in regards to, let's see, Osa at defensive end. If you're playing the 3-4, sure, right? He fits that kind of 5-tech mold, but in how the Cowboys play in a 4-3 situation, granted, yes, I know you can say, well, we'll just contain or whatever. I get it. I think you would need to transition him in a way that they did for Crawford. The reason why they did it for Crawford, because Crawford, okay, 1 year he's 270, 260 something. Next year he's 290, 295. Like, Osa's 280, so it probably wouldn't take much to kind of slim him down to move out to be more of a defensive end where you do have to be a bit more twitchier and quick to get upfield as a pass rusher. But I don't know if he has the length to be a defensive end, and I don't know if he's a what's my man's Elvis Doomerville type. I don't know if he's that type, or it was another short one. I want to say with the Colts. Dwight wasn't that short, was he? I don't know. But I think it would take a off season for him to transition. I don't think it's just simple as, hey, you go play left defensive end. It's simple in Madden. It's simple in our minds, but when you train to do something for so many years and you say you go play left defensive end when you've never done it in the league, I think that takes a lot of time. And if that's the case, I'll just move on from Osa and go get me an actual defensive end. You know what I mean? I think you're fine in having bodies to do the containment things. Micah has contained a bunch this year. I know we look at the Ravens game and a lot of people are confused in how the defensive ends were playing it, but just flat out playing normal get up field and contain. They've been doing that. Why do you think it came out and was pissed off about what's happening behind it? It ain't because the defensive ends are just rushing upfield to get after the quarterback. That's why you're not seeing a lot of defensive end sacks this year or plays being made in that way, because they are containing in this scheme. Nealon can do that. Golston can do that. Tyrus Wheat can freaking do that. We don't have rushers. And I don't think Osa's going to help out with that at all. Like, I feel like we need to get more pass rush help at defensive end when you're healthy with D-Law and Micah and whatever. And even if you're not healthy, I don't know that moving Osa to defensive end changes anything, really, to me. But I hear it all the time. It kind of reminds me, hey, let's put, who was it? Jordan Lewis at safety. I heard that a whole lot, too. Still here. 8 years later, I still hear put Jordan Lewis at safety. Text Rob, are you talking about Flournoy? He said, will he be any better running the same old boring routes? If you're talking about Flournoy, well, the routes that they do run, all these comeback stop routes, are better for bigger body guys. I think that's why you see Cooks struggle a lot, because corners are able to just kind of run through him a little bit in that sense. Where Cooks has often been successful dealing with corners on his back is when he's running away from the corners. Those 7 routes, flag routes in the red zone, and you see a lot of times he's catching contested balls, but that's because he's running away from them. They're not running through him. So yeah, I think Flournoy will be better with these kind of comeback routes, hook routes, curls, and slants. Osa too small. Yeah, he's 280 technically, but for defensive end, our defensive tackle, yeah, I think he's 100% small defensive tackle. We talked about this. Osa's a good player, But the one thing I always had a concern about when you move to a Mike Zimmer defense, Osa doesn't fit the mold of what Mike Zimmer wants. But then we're going to move on from Osa. Maybe a smart franchise would have said, look, we love you, but we can trade you for a guy that does fit that. But that ain't Dallas. Dallas is not going to do that. They're not going to give up on their third round pick. That's not a bad player. So that was always my thing. Like, will Osa, especially if he didn't have help, I thought they went out and got it with Jordan Phillips. They did not. Will Osa hold up over the length of the season playing this style of defense up front? We're only in week 4. We finna see once we get to week 10, 11, 12. Right? We finna see. All right. Good stuff today, Cowboys Nation. Appreciate y'all for coming through here. Tomorrow we'll be back on. Patrick Nosey Walker should be back. They should be traveling later in the day, maybe Saturday. But so we'll get Pat back on. He'll give us the rundown, the skinny on what's happening with Brandin Cooks, Flournoy. He's been talking to him. And anything else that comes up from the injury report and out of the locker room. So make sure y'all come back tomorrow. It'll be a Fan Friday. We'll talk to y'all. Didn't open up the lines a whole lot today, so I'll open them up for y'all. Give me some game predictions and things like that. With that said, I'm press this button.
Push the goddamn button. Push the goddamn button.
Shouts out to Specs. Shouts out to Underdog Fantasy. Head on over, download the app. I wasn't supposed to give away my pick for Dak, but I think that's easy. I think he gets over 240 yards. Book it. I know I told y'all to book Hunter Lipke. He got down there. It wasn't my fault they didn't give him the damn ball after having a nice 4th down run. Blame me.